Hey guys, welcome back to the San Jose Sharks Rebuild Franchise Series, Episode 6. On the last episode, we simmed through Year 2, had one of the worst seasons that we could possibly have, and ended up with one of the best draft classes I've ever seen in a franchise mode. We acquired a number of top-end picks, including Connor Bedard, and a bunch of great elite players in the later rounds. In this episode, we'll go through the re-sign phase and free agency, and go through most of year number 3. The objectives have changed. Last year, Marc-Edouard Vlasic actually retired, and the challenge at the beginning of this series was we weren't able to move Vlasic or Karlsson's contract because they really aren't movable in the real thing. Now that Vlasic's gone, all we've got left is Karlsson, and that allows us to make a pretty big push. We've got William Eklund, Matthew Savoy from the first year, and Connor Bedard all in the system, so our prospects are now much better. So this year is our first year that we start trying to become perennial playoff contenders. Hopefully we can get into that postseason for our first time in year number 3. That being said, if we don't, one more year of acquiring good top-end picks is fine, but I think this is the year that we start actually making a push. All right, guys, let's get into it. So just taking a look at the award winners from last year, as the Colorado Avalanche did win the Stanley Cup in 5 games over the Tampa Bay Lightning, so Colorado getting their championship. We'll take a look at the award winners as well, as Colorado won the Stanley Cup, obviously. The President's Trophy to the New York Rangers, the Clarence S. Campbell Bowl to Colorado, and then Prince of Wales to Tampa. Individual awards, the Art Ross goes to Kirill Kaprizov. The Hart also goes to Kirill Kaprizov for the 2nd straight season. The James Norris Memorial goes to Cale Makar, who had a great season again. Actually kind of stunned that he beat Fox, if you remember back. Fox actually had a few more points, but Cale Makar ended up taking it. The Lady Byng goes to Kaprizov as he becomes one of the best players in the world, just acquiring a ton of trophies as well as that Stanley Cup last year. The Calder goes to another Minnesota Wild in Boldy. The Conn Smythe to Marc-Andre Fleury of the Colorado Avalanche. The Vezina to Connor Hellebuyck. The Jennings also going to Hellebuyck. Masterson going to Siegenthaler from the New Jersey Devils. The Jack Adams going to Lassard from the Chicago Blackhawks. The Selke to Patrice Bergeron of the Anaheim Ducks. And the Ted Lindsay to Kirill Kaprizov as well. Maurice Richard goes to who else but Alex Ovechkin, winning his 3rd in the last 4 seasons. We're at the re-sign phase. We've got $32 million in cap space. And the big one that we've got to do is Timo Meier. And, you know, he's 26 years old in RFA. He wants 2 years. Going any more significantly jumps up the cost. And it's tough because I know that in 2 years, his contract is going to be one of those $10 million ones. As if we go out 5, he's going to be extremely expensive. We could try 3. I'm going to go with 3 for 8.125 because, again, we're going to have a lot of cap issues in just a few years when, you know, the likes of Connor Bedard and Savoy and all of those other prospects we have start asking for their actual contracts. So we'll go ahead and see if Timo Meier will come back to these Sharks. Going down the list, there you see it. Connor Bedard, our franchise player at center. We are going to go ahead and offer him a contract, and that's going to be exciting to see how he goes. Sasa Chemlevsky is now an 81 overall. We'll take a look at what he wants. He wants a 2-year deal at 1.425. Going any more kind of shoots him up a little too high, so 2 years at 1.425 is fine. Middleton is re-signed all the way down here. Delzato, who we brought in just for the AHL in depth, we don't need to re-sign him. As Merkley is still only 22 years of age. He is a medium elite. I would still like to sign him. 2 years keeps that cost down. We're going to go ahead and offer that, as he'll probably be in the AHL once again. Balsers is now down to a 78, and I'm thinking it might be time to just move on from him. Yeah, I don't know if I really want to spend that much on a 78 overall medium top 9 forward, because he's not really going to grow that much. At 26 years of age, guys, they just kind of stop growing. Gustafson is 23 years of age, a 77 overall center. He does want a 2-way deal, and I'm completely okay with that. We can go 3 years there at 8.25 on a 2-way deal. He's a pretty good AHLer. Nick Merkley wants a 1-way deal. Not going to happen. Matt Nieto, 30 years of age now. He has been in the NHL for... I just remember him as a Shark when way back, and now he's back after in Colorado. He wants a 1-year deal. I don't think we need to re-sign him because we're going to have Bedard. And where are the other prospects we got to take a look at? Because that's going to really change things. I mean, Bedard is definitely going to be in the NHL. I'm just wondering who else. Savoy's only a 74. We do need some bottom players. You know what? We could re-sign him in free agency after we get a look here. Reedy needs to be re-signed. He'll take a two-way deal, and we're okay with that. We'll see. We're extending them an extra year that they didn't really ask for. We'll see if that's okay. Braden Yeager, we traded up for in the top 10 to get him. He's a medium elite at 76 overall. Do we offer him a contract? I'm going to say yeah. Let's go ahead and do it. We got Lane Peterson at 75 overall. One more year of him, I think. Actually, we could do 2. Again, the goal to make the AHL team good as well is still a priority for us because, well, we want to make sure that, you know, at least our prospect system and our farm team is doing good as well. We've got Jasper Weatherby. He'll take 2 years. We'll take 3 years for him in the AHL. That's fine. Ibrahimov, 22 years of age, a medium top 9 at 22 years old. We'll go ahead and sign him. Matthew Savoy. We are going to go offer him his contract. He is our first-round pick earlier, top first-round pick from our first season. VL, we can move on from as we move down here. Kashnikov is a high AHL top 2. No, that's fine. LaRock is okay. A medium top 6 at 19 years of age, actually. You know, that's not a bad deal. We drafted him in the 4th. Let's go ahead and offer him a contract. That's not terrible, even if he doesn't start. Panophemus, same situation here. We've got 1 more year left on him before we need to re-sign him. He's obviously not going to make the team at 67 overall. And same with a lot of these other guys. McHugh, he was drafted in 5th round. Guryev, no, these guys just aren't going to make the team. Foligno, we've got Nolan Park, who's a medium elite forward that we drafted this year in the 5th round. Artukin is a low elite. No reason to sign them. Same with Lamb. Dude, we had such a good draft last year. It was actually insane. All right, that takes care of that. Let's take a look at our goaltender situation. I think we're going to go out and sign a goaltender. As Melnichuk, who's a 73, as well as Sawchenko. Goudreau's a 67. Do we sign Aiden Hill as a backup? No. I actually want to move on from him, I think. He just is not it. Zachary Amond, 23 years of age, 68 overall, medium backup. I think we can do better. And Goudreau is 20 at 67. He's a medium fringe starter. He's really good in the real OHL. He's been pretty good. You know what? We'll send him to the AHL. That's fine. All right, let's go ahead and see if any of these guys re-sign. And Lauren Hill, so we did offer a contract to our scouts, so we got one there. Scott Reedy does re-sign. Jasper Weatherby, he is brought back. Timo Meier does re-sign, so a big re-sign there for Timo Meier. And we get our best forward, one of our best forwards. Lane Peterson, he re-signs. Gustafsson as well. Chmelevski does, so everyone is re-signing. Ryan Merkley, Ibrahimov, and Benjamin Goudreau, Braden Yeager, Connor Bedard, Gannon LaRock, Matthew Savoy. So a lot of our prospects are coming up here. And now we'll take a look at our cap space and what we've got. We've got $24 million, so we can go out and sign an absolute stud. In terms of forwards that we're going to have in the NHL this year, we've got Hurtelmeyer, Couture, we've got Glass, Ivan Kulemin, our rookie from last year that we drafted 10th overall. We've got Connor Bedard, so that's a solid top 6. We've got Jonathan Dahlin, Leonard Chmelevski, that's our top 9. And then Eklund is probably going to make the jump. Gadjevich as well. And Sillinger. We do need to re-sign John Leonard. So, do we go at 3 years? He's a medium top 6 at 24. He's an 82 overall. In actuality, I do want to re-sign him. I think that's definitely going to be worth it because he's already an 82 overall. He's got 2 more years to grow. And I think that's definitely worth it. So we'll go ahead and offer him a contract right there. Okay. All right, Balsers. Balsers we are going to move on from. Matt Nieto we are going to move on from. Nick Merkley will move on from. And VL as well. Going down the list here, we'll lose McHugh, which is okay. And then in nets, taking a look there, we're going to lose Aiden Hill and Iman. So we will need a couple of goaltenders, especially a starter. But we've got almost 25 million, a little bit less after those last re-signs. So we are looking really good. All right, so John Leonard did re-sign, and I believe that is going to do it for all of our re-signs. We've got 47 contracts there. There isn't really anyone else. Delzato is gone. Balsers is gone. Actually, we can just cut him. We'll go ahead and release. We'll go ahead and release Balsers. He just did not grow the way we wanted him to. We'll take a look. This will show you how many more contracts you have. And guys, remember, in the bottom down here, you see where it says contracts 43 out of 50 right now. You have to remember that going into free agency, how many spots you actually have. Because if you go and offer, let's say 8 right now, and you say there's 8 that you really want, or maybe 1 that you really want, essentially, if you sign the other 7 signed before him, then you're out of luck and you have no more space. So just keep that in mind. All right, so we have 10 contract spots going into free agency. So we are going to have a lot that we can actually do. And here we go, guys. We are going into our year 3 of our free agency. We do have to hire some coaches, as it does look. Now, the one thing that you guys want to make sure that you're paying attention to is, even though maybe your coach has been good, so we signed Gordon in that first year, right? Want to take a look at some of the coaches that are available. So Theo Wilson, for example, is an A+. Like, if one comes up on the market that's really, really good, you want to make sure that you move on and you actually acquire him. Now, he really fits everyone except for Ivan Kulemin, which is interesting because Cody Glass and Ferraro, Carlson, Couture, and Hurdle aren't going anywhere. That is really interesting, to be honest with you. We might make the move and try and get Theo Wilson. And remember, you want to do the trick where you sign someone who matches him completely for the AHL. But the offense, the defense, the power play, penalty kill, teaching is a little low, but we might be able to get away with that. Ryder Lopp is another option. Doesn't fit nearly as well, though. We'll keep looking down, just taking a look here and see if there's anyone else. I can't believe how much he fits. As that's just, yeah, I think we're going to try and offer just the actual house for him. There's no teams interested. He's 50. Okay. We are going to actually throw the house at him and see if we can sign Theo Wilson. Remember, you want to do the same thing with your scouts as well, so I have to hire a few scouts. So again, as you're going through your franchise mode, I talked about how the region is what is most important. So let's take a look at the WHL. As long as the WHL familiarity is an A+, that's fine. But again, it's always good to just have a better, or overall. So you can go ahead and make sure as you go throughout the years that you're signing scouts that are just better overall. And they tend to have a little bit more success when scouting. Now, guys, when you go to hire a new coach, you actually have to fire your current one. So we've had Zach Gordon for quite some time now, since basically the start of our franchise mode run, and he just obviously hasn't done well. His teaching was fine and he really fit the team, which is okay, but it's time to move on, and hopefully we can acquire our new coach. But so what you need to do is you actually need to fire your coach, okay? So we go ahead and fire him. Now, you can't have no coach there in the regular season, so during the offseason, you don't need an interim coach, but it changes drastically. If you are trying to re-sign someone mid-season and you want to fire your current coach, you need to fire him, and then it'll ask you for an interim head coach. You want to make sure that you choose interim, and that'll make your assistant go up into the head coach spot, but then when it'll allow you to re-sign your actual new coach that you're re-signing. If you don't do that, he's going to say the position's already filled. All right, guys, let's take a look at free agency and who is available. At the top is David Pasternak, $13.3 million, 96 overall. I mean, we have the cap space, but I feel like that would just be overkill. $13 million on anyone that isn't even Connor McDavid, I just don't see being worth. However, he is a 96 overall, but still, I don't think that we're going to do that. Max Pacioretty at 34 years of age wants a one-year deal for almost $10 million. I'm not a big fan of that either. Tyler Bertuzzi's 28. I'm looking for someone in the late 8, like, you know, like the high 80s, but, you know, maybe not super old. Travis Sanheim. We do need another left defenseman, but an 89 overall. That's not actually that bad. It's 7 million, 89 overall, 27 years of age. Gostis Bear is available. Let's just take a look by overall. We've got Malkin at the top, 36 years of age, wants a 1-year deal for 8.5. Max Pacioretty, Bergeron, so he signed with the Ducks and then he's done. I do want to make the playoffs this year. I do think it's important. And Alexander Carrier is an 88 overall medium elite. Fits the third pairing. The problem here of signing a new coach, guys, is that the scouting, we won't know if they're going to fit until we hire the new coach. You need to remember that, guys. All right. Jonathan Taves, Horvat. I'm just not seeing a lot of deals that I want to do. Burakovsky at 28, 85 at 6.5 is a little high. Patrick Kane, 34 years, wants 5.6. That'd be kind of fun, but our right wing spot is pretty locked up. Gavrikov, we have so much money, though. We do need to sign a goaltender. Who's available? Nedeljkovic is an 86 overall, 5 years at 6.8. Not loving that. I'm not even seeing a lot of guys that I do want to go after. Gorgiev is there. Holtby. If I would just sign any of these goaltenders, it'd be on a shorter term. I wonder if we can sign Nedeljkovic. I don't want to do that, though. This one's going to be tough this offseason for sure. We do need to sign a starter no matter what. So we could go Mike Smith at 41. No. Gorgiev at 1.15 or Varlamov for 2 at 3.1. Man, just so expensive is the issue here. I mean, we could make a run at Pasternak, but he wants 7 years, which is just way too long. Same with Bertuzzi. I do like Sanheim. Sanheim for 3 at 7 isn't bad at all. We would make our defense pretty elite. Interesting there. He'd go ahead of Mario Ferraro. I think that... We do need forwards, though. This is tough, guys. This is tough. We could go Malkin on a 1-year deal at center. We have Couture and Hurdle at center, though, so we would need a left winger. In all honesty, we need left wingers. So, like, Killorn is an option, but that's 87 overall at 6.4. I'm not a fan of that. Could go JT Miller, wants a 1-year deal. That's not terrible either. Had a pretty rough year last year. Burakovsky, if he didn't want 5 years, I'd be all over that. Connor Brown. Maybe Connor Brown might be a decent buy there. Michael Bunting. 50 points last year. Wants 4-year deal, though. That's the problem with these guys. I just do not want to give them that much term. Connor Sheary. Is there any other ones in the 83 range? Riley Smith. Interesting. Donato. We're not bringing him back. This draft class is just not extremely good. Maxime Comtois doesn't really... All right, guys, so we're going to go through here, and I'll just see if there's anyone that I like. All right, guys, we are going to offer Sanheim a contract, and we're going to give him 7.1 for 3 years. I think that our defense has just become really, really brutal. Obviously, moving on from Burns and Vlasic retiring. Not that he was great, but he was still above 80 overall. We don't really have anyone after Carlson and Ferraro, so we're going to go ahead and offer Sanheim a contract. We'll see if he re-signs. There's 2 teams now that are interested in him. I think that's a good one for, 7 mil. We still have a ton of salary cap there, so we've got about another, about 12 million that we can go ahead and do a little bit more, actually. I would love 2 left wingers. I mean, Killorn would be nice. There's no teams interested. I wonder if we can get Killorn for less than 4 years. I do not want to go 4 years. So we're going to offer 6.2525 for 2 years. And if he signs it, he signs it. If he doesn't, he doesn't. And you know what? I think the same thing with Burakovsky. I think that might be the play as well. So 2 years, same amount of money. We'll go 6.5 for 2 years because you guys got to remember that we're going to have all our prospects come up at the same time. So the other thing that we want to do, guys, is go and look at our 2 ways that are available. A nice little hack that you can do is if you go to the people that want 2-way and then go and find some guys that are in the higher range here. So Isaac Rosen, he was a first-round pick in 2021. 72 overall, medium top 6. at 20 years of age. Yeah, we're going to offer him a contract for the AHL. That's solid. We've got German Rubtsov. I don't think that would be the play because at 26 years of age, guys, I again, remember they stopped growing. Jay O'Brien, 23 years. He was undrafted. This is why, guys, you go and look for these kind of contracts and players that are available, because we just got an 80 overall medium top 6 on a entry-level deal, essentially. So that's a solid score. Muck McDoulan from the... we had to add in was another prospect for the New Jersey Devils, and we'll go ahead and sign him as a high top 4. That's solid here. Okay, as there's a lot of top-end prospects that teams just didn't re-sign here, so I mean that works to our advantage. So Vekainen is a 78 overall at 24 years of age. He could get into the NHL, I think. Go ahead and get him. We'll go ahead on a 2-year deal there. Actually, no picks required for, we can offer sheet. That's fine. We'll see if he resigns and accepts that. There's no picks going back the other way, so that's pretty safe. High top 9. We're looking for anyone in the early 20s. Apelli Rassinen. High top 9, 25 years of age. Not seeing anyone else that I really like. Parsons is 66 overall. He's a little old. Hunter Jones, 22 years of age. He's a 70 overall. Is a medium starter, so we do need goaltenders. We're gonna need 2 NHL goaltenders because our goalies that we have now just are not gonna be good enough. Wow, actually, who is this? Philip Lindbergh. He is a low elite, 78 overall backup. I don't know if he's going to grow anymore, though, but he could be our backup, and just in case, we'll see what happens. All right, let's take a look at what we've got available here. So we could go Nedeljkovic. There's no one interested in him yet. I'm going to see what he takes on a 2-year deal, and we'll give him... I actually don't think we're going to have enough cash for him. That's fine. Let's go ahead and see if we acquire any of the guys that we signed. So Serge Grenier does accept the offer here. That was a scout for us. Vaclav Kubis as well. And Theo Wilson is the new head coach of the San Jose Sharks, going into our first year at a postseason run potentially. That is pretty big, as he is an A-plus coach, as we did get a trade offer for Logan Couture. No shots. Okay, all right, we should start seeing some... All right, so Vekainen does stay with his team, which is fine. Lindbergh does sign with us. Jay O'Brien decides to accept our offer. Mac McDoulan goes to the Vancouver Canucks. Rosen goes to the Hershey Bears. And Andrei Burakovsky, welcome to the Sharks, as he does sign that deal, that 2-year deal. That's big for us. But Sanheim goes to the Arizona Coyotes. That's a pretty big blow, as that was going to be our big-ticket defenseman. Alex Killorn also re-signed, so our forward core is looking very good. So we've got to take a run at goaltenders and defensemen badly right now. So let's take a look here. Siegenthaler is available. No, that's too much money. Alex Edler wants a 1-year deal at 4.75. Maybe we go that route as opposed to trying to sign someone long-term. 5-year deal for Siegenthaler at 83 overall is just not the play. Dante Fabro at 4.5, but again, 4-year deal. Mayfield has potential. We do need a few. That's the issue here, is that we need a few defensemen. I think we're going to go with Edler. How much cap space? We have 11.73. The reason why I like Edler is just because after it, that's fine. We can keep looking for prospects that'll be defensemen. So we'll try and sign him, and we'll try and sign Mark Giordano. Do we just load up on these guys? We could trade them at the deadline. We do need a goaltender, though. Let's see if he accepts our offer. I doubt he does. For Nedeljkovic, I think he's going to re-sign somewhere else, but that's okay. Nedeljkovic goes to Chicago. That's okay. All right, so now we're running out of room for goaltenders. We could always trade for one, but I'm not a big fan of trading for one. You usually end up having to pay way too much. Okay, Cam Talbot on a 1-year deal. 83 overall. Let's do it. Sure thing, bud. Welcome aboard. And we have our backup goalie as well. So let's see what happens. Alexander Edler does accept the offer, so he is on the squad. The last one is Cam Talbot, and now we have our starter going into next year. All right, so our coaching staff, we do need to sign an AHL assistant coach as well as a goalie coach, but you see here that Tom Wilson is an A+. The one thing we do need to make sure and go and find is an AHL coach that matches exactly, which we will have to do. So you want to go and find someone that matches these exactly. It can be pretty difficult. I'm going to go and try and find one right now. All right, so I went and found a perfect match. Alan Gordon will now be the head coach of the San Jose Barracuda, and why that is important, guys, again, is while you're bringing up your prospects in the AHL, you want to make sure that their lines and where they're playing match, so that when you bring them up to the NHL, it's not like a shock that you've spent 4 years developing a player only to find out that your head coach in the NHL doesn't fit the scheme at all. Looking over the coaching staff of the NHL right now, we've got a B- associate coach and assistant coach. The goalie coach doesn't matter as long as the teaching is high and they specialize in goaltenders, so Furlan's fine. But for these two, I'm actually going to see if there is another option here. So I think we're going to move on from Martinuk. So we'll go ahead and fire him, and then we will take a look and see, because there is at the top here, there is a head coach here, Jeremy Lassard, that is very good, and if we offer him enough money, he might take that role, that associate coach role. All right, so we've offered everyone that we need to offer. In terms of scouts, we do need one more. We've got 2 in Russia, SHL, Estraliga. We've got 1 in all of the USA regions, and I think we have 4 in the WHL, so we're going to go ahead and get rid of one of these. But we've got to take a look again and at what regions really that have a lot of prospects this year. Remember, guys, you want to make sure that you have a lot of scouts in the regions that have a lot of players. There's no point in having a bunch in like the USA East region or West when they only have like 10 prospects. All right, so Brett Robbins does sign on as our AHL assistant coach. That one's pretty big. And Brady Galvin does as the AHL goalie coach. We're still waiting to see if our NHL associate coach signs. And Roman Martinek is a scout. He signs. And Jeremy Lassard does. Okay, perfect. So now our coaching staff is looking really good. We've got 2 guys. We've got an A+ head coach, an A- assistant coach or associate coach. And then we have our AHL head coach that does match. I'm really liking what we've got so far, and it's going to be pretty good going into this year, hopefully, with all the acquisitions that we made. So let's take a look here. Again, I'm just thinking what we want to do for this next season. I just want to make sure our trading block is... Yeah, we don't want to move on from Logan Couture. Is there anyone that we do want to trade? We're not moving on from Connor Bedard, I can tell you that. I really don't think that we need to move on from anyone this year. Again, it's all going to depend on how our season goes, because we signed a bunch of guys, old players, for a 1-year deal to try and make a run at a Stanley Cup, or the playoffs at least. That's the goal. So we can go ahead and actually sim to next season, and yeah, let's go. All right, here we are, guys, the beginning of year 3. Let's take a look at the lines and just what they're set at right now. We've got Burakovsky, Hurdle, and Meyer. So the new players that we signed on, we don't know how they're going to fit, because, again, when you go and look at how they fit into your lineup, you don't know if you're switching coaches. So Burakovsky perfectly fits the first line. That's great. Hurdle does as well. He's pretty good. Does Meyer not? Meyer doesn't really fit that first line. So we'll have to see. We've got Matthew Savoy making the jump to the NHL. He is our 81 overall. We selected him 4th overall last year. He fits the third line, and that might be the perfect spot for him, as Logan Couture does fit. Connor Bedard perfectly fits the first line, and I'm wondering if we go like this and put him here and put Hurdle at right wing. So guys, again, another thing that you want to take a look at is the player type. So to get a perfect +5, you really need a power forward, playmaker, and sniper. That's really the best way to do it. So because we have 2 snipers, that's why it's only a +3. And I really don't want to put... He doesn't fit anywhere but that first line, really, which is kind of tough, because that would have been great. Cody Glass really fits. This new head coach is great for us. Really good. He fits a lot of players. Jonathan Dolan perfectly fits that other line here. Couture, like, look at this. Savoy... Again, we've got to mess with the lines quite a bit, but there are a lot of players that fit. The only one that doesn't is Kuhlman, really. And William Eklund doesn't either. That's kind of tough. And then Killorn, he also fits. We're going to have to move him up in the lineup too. Wow. Meyer, Bedard, Hurdle, +5. We've got Killorn, Dolan, Savoy. I really don't want that though. But, man. Couture not on that second line is kind of tough. And I don't want Savoy there either. We are really going to have to mess with these lines, which is okay. That's fine. Wow, even our third line. This is crazy. Our coach fits so well that we've got so many options here. I really don't want to put Eklund in a spot where he really can't, you know, perform. But Kuhlman either, like, we just have a lot of good players now. Like, that's the reality of the situation. We do have some options, though. I mean, this is a good thing to have, guys. This is what we've been working for. So we are going to have to see. We've also got a lot of good players that are signed here, too. Gadjevich is going to be taken off. Now, the fourth line, guys, grinders across the board is the best way to get a +5. So literally 3 grinders is usually how you get a +5 down there on the fourth line. On defense, now, we did sign Edler. Merkley is up to an 80 overall. That's pretty big. And Knizhov, he moves up. The best way for defenseman is an offensive defenseman paired with a defensive defenseman. Two-way is just kind of in the middle. You see here Mario Ferraro is defensive and Carlson is an offensive +5 there. That's how you get that. We've got Philip Lindbergh, low elite backup, and then Talbot at 81. So our goaltending situation is pretty tough. I'm wondering what to do with William Eklund. I do not want to move on from Eklund, but he does not really fit. He does fit the third line, and he could go here. Matthew Savoy at center with William Eklund and Burakovsky. That might be the play. And then Dahlin is 25. He's really not going to grow anymore. Cody Glass on the fourth line is such a waste. Who else do we have scratched as well that we want to put in? Chmelevski, Leonard, who's older? And Jay O'Brien, who we did sign. O'Brien is probably the one that we want to put in here. That's fine that our fourth line doesn't get any, though. Like, that's completely okay. All right, so we have to send some of these guys down to the AHL. We still have Sillinger, too. Wow. We have a lot of good options here. So we'll take a look at the AHL. So Gadjevich can be a scratch. There's really no point to having him on the team, though. Chmelevski, we can send. Is he? You know, he's on a one-way deal. We can't. We might put Eklund down. I don't want to put Eklund down. I don't want to put him down there. Bedard, Savoy. He's really the only one, though. John Leonard's on a one-way deal. We'll see if he works. We'll see if he works. The AHL team, however. All right, so Sillinger is an 80 overall at 20 years of age, which is fine. And he's going to fit the top lines there. Gushkin went up to a 74. That's good. That's really nice. And Ozzy Weisblatt, our first rounder from 2020, he's up to a 79 overall. And he only fits the fourth line, though, which is really frustrating, as he's a grinder. That's the issue, is that he's a grinder. We got a lot of options here. Who is scratched on this squad? Gustafson. Any prospects? Just Gustafson, it looks like. Raska's 21. He fits the first line, but Goudreau does a little bit better. Can Gushkin go anywhere? All right, so Sillinger is definitely going to be our first line, and Cardwell does not fit that lineup at all. A lot of grinders. Move Noah Gregor up one. What about on defense? We've got Kniazev, Sean Dursey, Topi Namila, Mason Millman, and Passenchuk, and Hadaka. Do we have anyone scratched here? Just Laurent. Yeah, we need to sign another defenseman, I think. Can we move any of these guys around? Wow, +5 there. I'm okay with this. And then in nets, how do our goalies look? Melnichuk is a low elite, 74. These guys are getting old, though, so like they're not going to go up much more. So we'll have to go with this. Our AHL team could make a run as well, which would be great. But our NHL team, I am really, really excited for. I want Bedard to be our first real shot at a Calder trophy. I really would like to win one. And then Savoy as well. We've got a lot of prospects. Bedard, Savoy, Eklund all making their first starts in the NHL. So I don't know. I think we're in business here, guys. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to sim through the first half of the season and see where we go. I'm also going to set up the prospects. That's going to take me just a little bit. So we'll go ahead and do that as we take a look at the scouting for this year and make sure that everything is all set there. So again, guys, I just want to show you that trick again. So with the scouts, at the beginning of the year, what you want to do is just go and look at the regions. So you see that the USA West has 9 forwards, 6 defensemen, and 1 goaltender. That's just, there's no point to have a scout active there, to be honest with you. The USA Central, however, has a ton, almost 100 players in the system, and the USA East has none. So what I'm going to do is move the West and East scout for the USA region and put them in the Central. That way that the actual region gets scouted. All right, guys, here we we are, the start of year 3. We're going to go ahead and sim about 2 months to go to about the Christmas break and see where we're at. We want to see our team do well this year, and we're going to let it rip. Here we go. All right, guys, here we are at the Christmas break, and things did not go as planned, really. We are in 7th in the Pacific Division with 32 points, with Matthew Savoy leading the team in points, which is definitely concerning considering he's our third-line center. We'll take a look at where we're at just in standings in general, because it's slowly becoming evident that we might have to be, sellers once again at 15, 15, and 2. But we'll take a look as, Matthew Savoy with 23 points in 32 games, Hurdle with 22 in 32, Killorn's there, Meyer, Kuhlman with 20, Connor Bedard only 17 points. He's up to an 85 overall right now, and 17 points in 32 games, just not going to be doing it. Well, considering Eklund is on that third line, and he's got 17 as well. Couture just continues to disappoint. Let's take a look at net, though. I mean, Lindbergh has a .914 save percentage. Cam Talbot not getting it done there, which obviously appears to be the issue, which we might have to address. And we'll take a look around the NHL as Connor McDavid has 56 points in 35 games. I'm curious to see in terms of rookie skaters as Raphael Lavoie for the Edmonton Oilers has 24 and 35. Samuel Poulin, and then there is Savoy. So we are in the race for a Calder. Just wasn't the player that I thought, as Michkov, who is Bedard's rival for pretty much the remainder of this series, he is just ahead of him with 20 points. So obviously not where we want to be. We'll take a look in terms of the entire league, as the Tampa Bay Lightning are way out in front. As we go down here, where are we? We are not doing well. Actually, I mean, 23, that's not terrible. I guess we can still try and get back into the race here. In terms of the division, we're only 6 points out, so not awful. We'll see what we can do, and we've got to mess up the lines, I think. We'll take a look at the AHL as Cole Sillinger leading the way there, and 17, 12, and 2, which is not bad. We are 4th in the division there in the AHL, so let's go ahead and mess with the lines a little bit because the combos just aren't working. Even though Hurdle, Meyer, and Bedard are all +5s, it's just clearly not working there. Savoy, maybe he moves up to the first line. I mean, who's to say? We just changed some things up. Meyer's not doing well, either is Killorn, and maybe we just go ahead and switch these around. I mean, we move Eklund up. The overalls take a bit of a hit. Connor Bedard only gets a +1, but obviously, like I said, some things just aren't working here. Carlson is a +1, which is pretty crazy. Yeah, that second pairing is just not good. So we're going to go ahead and just, again, sometimes you just got to make some changes here. And we'll go ahead and look at the power play as well. The power play, 2 +5s on the power play, and we still can't get it done. Just kind of incredible when you look at this, but that's sometimes how it goes in this game. But we'll go ahead now, and we'll sim to about the deadline, and then we've got to make some real tough decisions. Do need to take a look at the draft class as Christian Norgren is a medium franchise. Another franchise player, first overall, would be absolutely huge, and I don't think our team is bad enough to hit there, but man, if we won the lottery, that'd be huge. But this is a great year for rookies. Honestly, not terrible if we don't, come out and actually do well and make the playoffs, because we're guaranteed another medium elite player. Maybe a defenseman, Chandler Lotz from Spokane, might be the one that we target, as he appears to be the best defenseman in the draft right now. So we do have some options here. We'll go ahead and redo the scouting for January to April, and then I'll get that taken care of. All right, guys, so our roster moves did make some changes here and affect our team, as we're now 33, 26, and 3 at the deadline. Good for 3rd in the Pacific, which means that we are in a playoff spot. Timo Meier finally jumps on board. He's got 49 points in 62 games. Still not all that great, but Matthew Savoy continues to impress, up to an 85 overall at 62 games, 43 points. Erik Karlsson's got 41 on the back end. Hurdle and Kuhlman at 40 and 62. Connor Bedard at 87 overall has 38 points in 62 games. So our rookies actually performing quite well. We've got William Eklund as well at 30 30 points here. And we'll take a look in net, actually. I'm curious to see how they rebounded, as Talbot had a much better second part to that season at 914 save percentage. We'll take a look around the NHL real quick, as in terms of skaters, as Connor McDavid has 91 points in 63 games, and Matt Boldy, who won the Calder last year, 79 points in 61 games there. Draisaitl right behind him, so we don't really have anyone in this race, but again, we'll take a look at the Calder race, as Maverick Bourque has 48 points in 61 games. Matthew Savoy right behind him. So we do have someone in the race. Michkov appears to be a little bit better at 39 points there. He is one ahead of Connor Bedard. So it is going to be interesting. We do have some horses in the race for the Calder, and it does look like we are in line for a playoff spot. So pretty amped with that. In the AHL, we are 36-21-5 with Cole Sillinger leading the way there. So now things are starting to take shape a little bit. As, yeah, man, just Connor Bedard up to an 87 overall. Matthew Savoy an 85. An impressive start to the season there, as he shot up in overall, which is awesome to see. On the back end, Ferraro and Carlson still at 85. Ryan Merkley up to an 82. So we are starting to see some improvement there in terms of our overalls, as Lindbergh is now just in starter because we're rotating. In the AHL, we'll see is Bordelot's an 80, or a 78, sorry. Sillinger up to an 80 overall, as he's playing very well. Kanayev at 80 as well. So things are starting to come around here for these Sharks. And in the next episode, we are going to finish out the rest of the third season and hopefully have our first few playoff games of the series. Guys, thanks again for watching, and make sure you tune in to next week's episode. Have a good one.
Then I stop myself for a while.